I'm Pablo and
Solomon.
And today we are at
Cactus Sage School.
Okay, and what's your name?
I'm Robert Nolan. I am a first degree black belt in Kodokan Judo. And here at Cactus Sage School we teach traditional Judo, and we also teach Judo, which my brother teaches.
Oh, that's awesome. What are some of your qualifications?
I have been training in Judo for almost 8 years now. I'm a Southwest Regional champion. I've fought at the U.S. Nationals. I'm also a freestyle Judo champion for the state of Arizona. Freestyle Judo is just a different variant of Judo. Let's see, I have an academic background in Japanese language, culture, and religion.
Oh wow, okay.
I went to Toyo University. I've studied at the Kodokan.
Oh wow, okay. That's amazing. How can people find you?
Generally, because the Judo community where we're located here in Arizona, it's so small. If you're in Phoenix and you Google Judo, we'll pop right up there on the right-hand side.
Okay. And you said you're Kodokan. What's the difference between that and other types of Judo?
There are other variations. Like I said, there's freestyle Judo and Kodokan. Kodokan just means it's the mainstream variant of Judo. There's also Kosen Judo, which lots of people liken to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or is a progenitor to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Had a very strong emphasis on newaza and ground game. There's also what we have here in the United States, which I also practice and I'm a big advocate of, which is called freestyle Judo. It's scored like wrestling or like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Gives equal opportunity to tachiwaza and newaza. And then in Kodokan, or what some people refer to as Olympic Judo, is the stuff that we see in the videos on the Olympics. Very flashy, it heavily emphasizes stand-up and tachiwaza, big spectacular throws, not a lot of time on the ground.
Okay, all right. But are they allowed to go onto the ground?
Yes, absolutely. The rule set of Judo does allow you to go to the ground, but you have to be showing progress. If you get stalled out, if someone turtles up and they're not making any progress, then they reset and they stand you back up because they want to see that spectacular throw. And so really, Olympic Judo, because Kodokan, and even then you could still split the two between Olympic Judo and Kodokan Judo, I would say is one of the fascinating evolutions in martial arts, is that we've seen a martial art change to the way that we view it and the way that we identify it. Because when TVs became, from the 1930s, 1940s forward, and people are able to listen to the radio and they're able to watch the Olympics on TV, that's when Judo became very, very popular. And that was one of the main arguments that the founder of Judo made, Dr. Kano, was that he wanted people to engage in this, that he wanted to bring these positive benefits that Judo gives to everybody. And the way to do that was through the medium of TV of the Olympics.
Okay, interesting. Is Judo a sport, or just a sport? Is it a martial art?
It is a sport, and it's also a martial art. For the traditionalists, it's very easy to identify that it is a martial art, and probably in the way that we understand it in Western society, because it's called Judo. So Ju is soft, and Do is the way of. Do is actually a shortened form of Dori, which is the path to, or the road of, and it actually comes from a Buddhist term. It's a path to enlightenment. It's a path to bettering your life and everyone else's life in society. And so Judo does that in a very particular manner, which Dr. Kano said was soft.
Right, until you hit the ground.
Yes, exactly, until the earth hits you.
Sure. The art of hitting somebody with a planet.
That's it. It is. It's devastatingly powerful. You have someone that's martial arts teach us to have control, and Judo teaches you to give up control. Okay. So people will panic as soon as you pick them up off the ground and they have no more control over the functions of their body because they're not connected, they can't move around, they'll freak out and slam right in the ground.
Okay. So my big question is, how does it relate to somebody looking for the overall self-defense game, and in particular, how does the gi influence, or I don't know how else to phrase it, just how does the gi influence the usefulness of it?
Yeah. So so the gi is 100% necessary equipment for the practice and study of judo. Dr. Kano, when judo and traditional jiu-jitsu by extension, in the late 1800s, a dogi was actually just the undergarments to one's kimono. And it's sturdy. It was made of like high tensile strength cotton. And when they were practicing with this, they were doing so because this is the equipment, this is the attachment that every person has. We all wear t-shirts, we all wear pants, we all wear jackets depending on what climate you're in. Not so much here in Arizona. But it teaches you that this is what we always have, and it's a tool, and you need to use it.
Okay.
And so that's part of why it's necessary. Also in judo, these are reinforced in very specific areas. In the armpit, has a very thick collar. The belt keeps it closed, which is really all the belt is good for. This is to help you practice with other people safely. So if I were to throw Saul, I'm able to have something to grab onto so I can pull, and so I'm not slamming him down with full force, because all it takes is one good throw, and then you get thrown on the concrete and knocked out.
So you could practice without a gi, it's just not safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are no gi variants to most judo throws. Not all, but most.
Should you practice without a gi sometimes?
I think it's important that you understand that the gi is not always going to be there. That equipment is not always going to be there. So yeah, there is certainly some. There is a very real necessity to understanding what the difference is between gi and between no gi.
Okay. And he was asking about the martial arts aspect. Do you need to know punches, or is judo enough?
In the way that we teach here at Cactus Day School is we separate. So judo is self-defense. JKD is self-offense.
Oh, okay.
So JKD is when we are already aware of a threat, and you move and you intercept, and then you can trap the hands, you punch, you can kick, you do whatever you have to do. Judo is very good because it teaches lots of sensitivity in that you may not know if something is a threat, but when someone connects to you, you're able to feel that inertia, the kinetic energy, and then you can grab a hold of them. And so it's two very different mindsets to what martial arts is. Is it self-offense or is it self-defense? And I believe that judo is very good for self-defense. And other martial arts, maybe something like boxing, or maybe even like taekwondo, something that's very heavy into striking, is better for self-offense when you already know that you're in a dangerous situation and you already have space. But like I'm sure that we all know, dangerous situations don't always announce themselves, and you can already be in close proximity to someone. And so that is where self-defense, whether it's striking or grappling, no matter how it's orientated, is very important. And then if you have good self-defense and you have self-offense, you can go back to it and then use that to safely navigate a dangerous situation.
Okay. So if somebody's swinging at you and you don't know Jeet Kune Do, would you cover and close your distance? Would you cover your face, or how would you handle that?
Block, move to intercept, because you're cutting the energy of the punch. And then you can actually go into a throw right from that position. Yep. So if someone is just doing like a really sloppy haymaker, like you're just coming out of a bar, or someone is getting shovey, there's lots of things. Most of the techniques from judo come from real life situations. I mean, it has a martial arts origin, and I can even show you some here in a little bit.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Okay. As far as the striking goes, is that built into the curriculum? Because, and pardon my ignorance, but I don't think I've ever seen the Japanese boxing art. I mean, like even Japanese karate is very new. And I mean, I know some of the older jiu-jitsu styles and stuff do some of the overhand strikes and stuff that come from sword systems, but like, So do you have any of that striking built into the curriculum, or is that something that's been kind of tacked on afterward?
It's something that we're in the process of combining. From judo, it's very self-evident when you have someone in a prone position that you can easily just, because you generally have something attached to you still while they're on the ground, it's very evident that you could just go and start pounding the face, or you could arm bar, you could let go and back away if you need to. I mean, so it's all contextually sensitive about what kind of scenario you're in.
Yeah.
But we are in the process of combining these concepts from Jikundo and Judo, but we maintain that they're separate schools of thought.
Okay.
And that they have, they're different modes. So it's like you're going from, first gear to reverse.
Okay.
They have equal usefulness, but different context scenarios.
So is that why a student would want to come to this specific judo school?
I like to think so, yeah. I like to think that because we emphasize stand-up and we emphasize newaza, we're not really politically aligned on the martial arts spectrum. Mm-hmm. And because we have a really fantastic Jikundo program, we have a good judo program, I really think that this is a good place to learn. And then aside from that, we don't run it as a business. Mm-hmm. This is a community service that's open for anyone in Phoenix, Arizona, or any of that outlying suburbs to come and learn and help us learn. And that's what our vision of judo is.
Okay. Does judo favor the shorter fighter?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, judo is meant for the small guy. All of the best practitioners, starting from the founder down to the second gentleman up there, who's known as the god of judo, mm-hmm. They've always been very tiny. That's why the best practitioners are always women. They're always people that have a smaller frame. And that's the reason why Dr. Kano combined these different styles of traditional jiu-jitsu together, was because it made a good person a great person. It can take a bad person, make them good, and a good person, make them great. It is something that improves everyone's life. It makes them safe. It realizes that failing is an integral component to growth.
Right.
You can't be afraid of failure. The famous quote by Dr. Kano is like fall down 7 times, get up 8. You have to fail in order to learn, to get up, and to grow.
What about us tall guys?
Tall guys, there's, for me personally, there are some things in judo that I can do that other people can't do. Like, I really like over-the-shoulder grabs, so I can reach behind and I'll grab somebody's belt. Lots of people wear his belt, whether they're wearing blue jeans or not. I'll reach behind, I'll grab a belt.
Okay. And then, does Olympic judo rules affect judo as a self-defense system?
I think it informs the public to what it is. And so, in that regard, it does. It does. The sport component of it does affect the public's perception of what the actual martial art is. But I think it's important, really, to understand that what you're seeing in the Olympics, while it's absolutely fantastic, I mean, they're great, terrific athletes who have just spot-on technique to be able to lift someone that's anywhere from 180 to 240 pounds, flying through the air. That is not the entirety of the catalog in which the library of judo has to offer. There is much, much more that doesn't get covered, when the TV screens and when the cameras are rolling. And they very fun and depressing saying in the judo community is that your martial arts, your Olympic career can go up and die in 5 seconds, because that's all it takes. You walk out there, you grab onto somebody, boom, get slammed, and then you got out of the qualifiers, and that's it. You're not going.
Yeah. So, do you think it's ruining judo as a self-defense?
I think it's maybe not ruining it, but I think it's better to view it in that the sport aspect is more like the PR arm, and that I think it does some good in that it broadcasts it and it spreads it to the world. Whether this is true or not, they often say that judo is the most practiced sport, or the second most practiced sport on the planet after soccer.
Oh, wow.
And if we put together people that practice traditional jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and judo, knowing that they're all the same thing. I mean, certainly, probably the most popular sport on the planet. And so there's good and bad. We have to understand that it's the medium that we live with. And maybe when a new medium comes along that doesn't require it to be flashy or people are more engaged, then it'll change. And the understanding of the public onto what judo is, or jiu-jitsu by extension, could change.
What's the difference between Iwaza and Tachiwaza?
So Tachiwaza is stand-up. And this includes chokes, because there are chokes and there are arm bars from the standing position. And there's Newaza, which is chokes, pins, and ligature techniques that are applied from the ground position.
Do you practice, since it's a judo school, you're pretty much doing throws, or do you do both?
We try to do both in equal proportions. I would say that given the amount of people that practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we don't have to go over Newaza quite as much, just because we have lots of people that supplement their training with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that makes it very easy. And I encourage everyone that practices judo to study Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if you don't have a strong Newaza in your class. And I really encourage people that practice Jiu-Jitsu that don't have strong Tachiwaza to go to a judo school, because you should really be complementing both aspects. They're both part of the same martial art. It's just two sides of the different coin. The only difference is rule set.
Okay.
So this is kind of off the wall. In other sport arts, you see a ton of conditioning, right? Boxing, wrestling. I mean, even the Chinese martial arts and Okinawan arts, you see a ton of conditioning. But again, maybe just my ignorance, I just don't see that in the Japanese. So does judo have a conditioning component other than just randori?
I mean, I'm certain that it does. I know they have a gym at the Kodokan.
Okay.
I know most of the really competitive judoka that I know all have very strict diets and eating regimens, have a very, they train so many times a week, 3 or 4 or 5 times a week maybe, go to the gym very regularly. But again, I think that we have to separate between the vast majority of people in all contexts that practice martial arts, which do it for the non-tangible benefits that come from the practice of martial arts, versus those that do so competitively.
Right.
People that compete, I would say pretty much 9 times out of 10, they probably are going to the gym. They're probably dieting. They're probably, going to other classes, and they're watching online tutorials, and they're scoping out their competition. I mean, those are the normal things that happens in competition. But by and large, the people that practice martial arts in general, let alone judo, no, they come, once a week, twice a week. They bring their kids, and they might go running every once in a while. It depends. Judo is not something that is meant only for those in the top tier physical condition. Judo is for everyone. It's for women. It's for people of every background. It's people that are healthy, people that are not healthy. That is the entire reason why Dr. Kano started this. It's something that everyone has access to. Everyone should learn. It benefits everyone, and by doing so, you make yourself better. You make society better. So, with your right arm saw, you're just going to try to strike me on the head.
Foot placement matter?
When we do it in the kata, we just take a step forward.
Okay.
Just like we're gonna strike on the top of the head. So I'm gonna intercept. I just take 1 step forward. I'm putting my forearm in here. The deeper you can get in, the better, probably right about the elbow or below. Don't go too deep, because then you don't have any leverage. So somewhere between elbow and armpit. So I'm intercepting again, and you can make it slightly more realistic if you want to.
Okay.
Yep, here. I'm stepping in. And I'll break it down and show all the components to it. Yo, that's fine. I just want to be soft. I don't want to hurt anyone. Okay.
I do arm wrestling, so.
So in here, I've taken control of the arm now after I've gone from stopping the punch. Now I'm controlling the arm. So I'm pulling the arm taut, and I'm not trying to grab with my right arm. I'm actually going to flex. I'm going to bicep flex in his armpit so he can't pull the arm away. You'll see that my feet are placed equally between his. I'm right in his center of balance, okay? And so all it takes for me now to have all the control is I just have to unflex my knees. And I have them off the ground.
Okay.
I'm afraid I'm going to throw. I've done that a couple times. Those legs on those ones aren't even the original legs in my glasses. Okay. And see, now you're in a prone position, and I can just remember. Knee in, across, push them together, and come back.
So, thank you for your help earlier. We're back here at Renaissance Wing Chun again. And I really liked what he had to show us.
Yeah.
The man obviously knows what he's talking about. I'm highly impressed. What did you think?
When he put hands on me, it literally felt like I was just locked down and I couldn't. So I mean, you know, it's that kind of proverbial, you know, anaconda grip or whatever you want to think of, right? You know, it's like, yeah. I mean, his information was thorough. I mean, especially to my ignorant, you know, knowledge. But on top of that, the fact that, you know, that like just the feel of his grip and everything was like he knows exactly where to put everything just from all those thousands of repetitions of those moves.
His understanding of Japanese culture, Japanese language. Yeah. I said takiwaza, and he subtly said tachiwaza to correct me. That is a level of mastery that you don't find every day, so I'm impressed.
Right.
And the move I really like. So yeah. From a MMA standpoint, I could see this move being highly effective in MMA. Like, pretend like you're my opponent.
Yeah.
And I know you love your overhand right. Okay? So I'm going to have this move in my camp, right? And maybe we'll go over this in strategy, and then maybe we'll go over it and break it down in different moves, and I'll drill this a lot. So I'm waiting for that overhand right. So I've got my move, and when you throw that overhand right, I'm immediately going to do my defense. That's not exactly the way he did it.
No.
I'm going to do my defense. And right now, before you have a chance to do anything else, I'm going to shoot it up, pinch it just like he said now, and I'm going to drop my hips below yours, drag you up, bring you down. Now immediately, we can go right into the finish right here. Or if I want, I can control your elbow. It hurts, right? Bam, 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 and hopefully I get the judge to come in and separate us. The ref. Yeah. What do you think?
I think that seems relatively valid. Those overhand rights come a little harder and faster than the tradition, but I think it's possible. My biggest concern there is that those overhand rights, I mean, nobody poses with the punch. So you got to be fast.
You have to be fast.
You got to be fast.
But if that's your specialty, like your Koscheck, and I know every other punch is an overhand right, I'm going to spend my entire camp mastering this.
Right.
So 3 months down the road, when I'm anorexic from dieting and not eating water, I can still punch your face on the ground after I drop you.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Well, I like the move. I'll tell you what was most impressive, besides his ability to perform it, was the detail of just flexing the arm around the arm. I am a big advocate of not relying on the actual grip so much because anybody that does any weightlifting or rock climbing or grappling knows that the grip is a massive failure point, especially with fatigue.
Yeah.
So the more I can get away from having to use the grip, the better. And so I really like that idea of just kind of punching through and flexing. Big gross motor movement, don't have to think about anything. And the best part is, I might be able to hit you with it on my way through, right? If you're throwing and I'm clearing, even if I just come in here kind of straight away, and just going for my inside tie, on my way to get this, that can totally be a low shot as I'm working in for the rest of it. That, from my perspective, it gives me an entry point that can be multifaceted.
Sure. And
as a striker, I like that a lot.
Well, does this tie into Wing Chun at all?
It could.
Mm-hmm.
It would have to be trained. Where you might see it the most would be kind of, I mean, other than obviously the scenario of somebody throwing a haymaker at you, right?
Yeah.
Within our context in Wing Chun, you'd be looking at, like, maybe from a chi sao type perspective, if we're touching hands and somebody goes to reach around for a neck grab or something,
Mm-hmm.
trying to clinch you up, you might be able to snag that inside tie.
Sure.
Like, if we're just, and I know this isn't your specialty, but if we're touching hands and playing chi sao,
sure.
Once I have that bridge, if I can work into that inside tie and pry up, well, I'm already halfway there.
There you go.
Right? I just have to figure out what I'm going to do with this hand on my way.
Sure.
Which again, it will probably be a strike and
sure.
Work into my entry.
Sure.
So I think that's where the tie-in is, because with Wing Chun, what we're looking at is we want to work from the bridge, right?
Right.
We're striking from judo holds. We're striking from tie clinches. We're striking from wrestling tie-ups.
Sure.
Right? That's kind of Wing Chun's bread and butter. So if I was going to put this in a Wing Chun setting, that would be exactly what it is find a way to establish that bridge. Does that mean the other person's throwing a punch at you? It could, but it could mean they're trying to grapple with you.
Right, right.
We do live in a post-MMA society.
Right.
And there's a lot of wrestlers, there's a lot of BJJ guys out there, and, apparently there's a lot of judo guys out there as well.
Yeah.
So somebody might not be looking to strike you at first, they might be looking to grab you. And as long as their arms are kind of this out position, you can probably snag that inside tie.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it seems feasible.
Well, I was thinking about it from a catch wrestling standpoint.
Yeah.
We're in a normal 50-50 tie up here, and you get the inside tie,
Mm-hmm.
this immediately starts to break your grip.
Absolutely.
So now I really have to worry about this hand getting this hand free. So I push up with the inside tie, and now I shoot up just like he showed us and pinch.
Mm-hmm.
I come down to where your arm is weak here, and I can step across and go right into the throw.
Absolutely.
It flows right in with catch wrestling.
Absolutely.
I don't know how our coaches will feel about that, but I think it could work. Sorry, John Potenza.
Yeah.
And Bain.
Yeah, it does seem feasible.
It does.
It absolutely does seem feasible, even
Yeah.
if it's not curriculum material.
Right.
Or if they have a particular way.
I'm sure they have a variation that's in it.
But it seems a non-specific to context enough move.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, yeah, there was grips on the gi, but at the same time, I think we've just shown that it can be done without reliance on the clothing itself. It doesn't require any special gear or anything like that. And that's a big deal for me. I don't want anything that relies so much on a very specific grip or a piece of gear.
Sure.
So, anything that I can translate to wearing a t-shirt and pants.
Or a Speedo.
Right.
I mean, honestly, because you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows when I'm going to need a Speedo next, but.
But we live in Arizona, and I've seen people in Walmart in Speedos.
There you go.
So.
I'm also really worried about how a woman is going to need it. I mean, I'm a big guy. Maybe I don't need as much self-defense as a woman. Maybe I do, I don't know.
Right.
But I would imagine that a woman being short could get her hips low, So if she's being attacked, maybe this is a good, viable option for her.
And in that vein, I do like the fact that on that entry, the fact that there's that kind of replacing turning step, it's going to dissipate the force of that strike.
Sure.
So she doesn't have to worry about taking the brunt. My 230-pound strike
oh, yeah.
is going to be a lot more than what a 115-pound woman is going to.
That arc's coming right here.
Yeah.
And if I go to block it, this may not stop anything.
Right.
It may deflect behind my neck, but I still might eat that.
Yeah.
So that's what's really nice about this. It's because she's closing.
Yeah.
I left the power zone.
Exactly.
Right. And also, like you said, this doesn't have to be from a punch per se.
Right.
So a woman could be aggressive. Exactly. Yeah, he's trying to get me into the car.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I really mostly need to get rid of this hand.
Right.
So maybe I can break this hand.
Right.
And now we can go right into the throat. Once you hit the ground, I can kick you in the balls and run.
Right.
Or not.
Right. Depending on your level of brutality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm a woman and you're really big, I might really consider you know,
sure,
something like that.
Right. You know, I mean, as a 6'2" man, I don't really have to deal with that, but
I don't either.
but I get the point.
Yeah,
I get the point.
Because to me, I'm always thinking about, you know, how's it useful for me? Maybe competition, or maybe just in my practice. But then, how is it useful to a woman? I mean, not that I'm necessarily training a woman, but I mean, that's a serious consideration for a lot of martial artists, you know?
Well, we've all got girlfriends and wives and just generally smaller people in our lives.
Right.
And it would be good for them to know that they don't necessarily have to get into an arm wrestling contest with everybody they come across.
Sure.
Right? I mean, I've even fallen for that whole, you know, arm wrestling contest thing in competition before.
Right.
And that was my downfall because the guy was clearly stronger than me, but the monkey brain kicked in and I said, no, you're not stronger than me, I'm going to do this.
Right.
No, of course not. If I had used some dissipation like that, right, it could have gone somewhere.
Your energy level just goes like this when you're fighting somebody like that. It's stupid, and I do it all the time, and I hate it, and then hopefully as I get better, I will do less and less of I'm stronger than you.
And even if you are stronger than the other person, it's just a waste of energy.
You're killing yourself. What if you have to fight 3 people?
Yeah.
Your first person kills your energy, and now you're a useless piece of fat laying on the ground. Yeah.
You know, so in my opinion, right, I want to be as strong as I can be, and then use as little of it as necessary. Right. So that I have both sides of the equation covered.
You need that just in case you're really in trouble. You can power out.
Yeah.
I never want to.
Squats and deads on one side, technique on the other.
Exactly. I never want to power out. But when I need it, I just want to break somebody's grip or knock them off their feet. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you know, the simple fact is, I mean, we're all subject to physics. At the end of the day, the bigger mass has advantage, natural advantage. If I put on more muscle, and this goes for the 115-pound woman, and don't worry, you're not going to look like a man. You know, this for the 115-pound woman.
Right.
You boost your mass by 20 or 30 pounds, you're going to give yourself a greater advantage than what you had before.
Absolutely.
You're going to have more strength, and because you're already smaller, your relative strength is going to go way up.
Absolutely.
Right? Just being 6'2" and lanky, my leverage, my lever arms are too long for the fulcrums. They bleed power all over the place. But you get somebody with really short levers that don't have to move as much. My goodness, they've got just strength for days.
My jiu-jitsu coach is a little bit shorter than me, and his ability to generate force is astronomical. He's got his arms are like this, and he may weigh roughly about the same as me, but it's in a different proportion.
Right.
And it's amazing how strong he is in close quarters. So I might be able to generate more force on a punch, you know, but he's definitely going to be able to generate more force wrestling.
Well, and that's the thing is, us large guys, our overall maximum is much higher, but pound for pound, leverage-wise, it's lower.
It really is.
And that means for us big guys, we definitely have to shore it up with more maximal strength. Smaller people may be able to get away with less, but yeah, I mean, so completely different considerations, right?
Yeah.
So there's the other question: can a 6'2" person use this?
Right.
Right. What if my second fight was against a guy? I mean, not that short, but he was, you know, I mean, he was like 5'5" max. I mean, he was a small guy compared to me. I'm 6'2".
Right.
And he weighed a lot more than me. He's 308 pounds.
Right.
Could I do this move to that guy?
This would be very hard.
It would be very difficult.
Yeah.
Not only am I going to have trouble getting my hips low enough to get under him, but when he's shaped like a balloon, and I'm not being mean, but when he's being shaped like a balloon, it's going to be hard, you know, to find that fulcrum point anyway. So height, proportion, and then on top of that, weight, right? I can put 300 pounds on my back, but can I throw it?
Right. To get below his hips, you would have to get down on your knees. I
have to go full Van Damme.
Yeah. And it's funny because every person underneath 6 foot is going, what are they talking about? They don't understand the situation. I'm not trying to say there's a problem here.
Right.
We have a lot of advantages being tall.
Yeah.
But there are some problems being tall that short people don't get. So.
Right. If we were in a cage fight together, relative same weight, we're in the same weight class, relative same proportions, probably pretty close on strength and technique, right? That's what people are expecting.
Sure.
in a fight.
Yeah.
But what I got was people this tall, this wide, proportionally stronger than me because their lever arms were different.
Right.
Right? And the thing that saved me was being tough and stubborn,
Yeah.
not being good.
I never would have let that dude get close to me. It would have been like the whole entire time. Not really slapping him, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would have made sure he didn't touch me because that dude can grab your legs, pick you up. It's going to be like 10% of his strength to lift you.
Right.
Lifting him is going to be 90% of your strength.
Yeah.
Because you have to reach around.
Yeah.
Your grip's going to suck. You have to get down here. You know, his center of gravity is here. You're barely below it on your knees.
Yeah.
And then he's not going to be close to you because you're reaching out like this. I want somebody in close tight where I can lift them up like
Right.
that. It's going to be very hard. I'm going to be in a horrible body position. Lift with your back,
Yeah.
not with your legs?
Right.
No, I don't think so.
It's.
Right.
I hope you did some Atlas stone training with this 500-pound stones at the
Sure.
strongman gym.
That's right.
You know.
Good mornings, right? You're
Really.
going back, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we always ask, can the smaller person do it? Well, from an aggression standpoint, that's a really valid question. From a technical standpoint, though, right? I mean, Robert was saying all the best judo guys are little guys.
Sure.
Right?
He's right. Yeah.
So, the fact that I can physically do this does not mean you're going to let me.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Just because I can pick you up and move you across the room doesn't mean you're going to let me. You're not going to stand there and cardboard cutout
Of
yourself.
course. For us tall guys, I'm going to want to use my height. So my height has the ability to push you. There's so much more force there for me. I'm not going to be able to get below your hips. So when you try to get below my hips, I'm going to try to break your posture. When you're standing up, I'm going to try to do things that sweep you in one way or another. And that's why I'm going to handle it. I'm not going to let you I don't want your hips close to my hips. As a tall guy, I don't need to.
Right.
So again, I'm going to keep you out and smack you as much as I can until you go away.
Right.
So that's just my opinion.
Right. And this would be a good one too. Is maybe for some people our size, should we look at Greco-Roman instead?
Absolutely. Catch wrestling, Greco-Roman.
Right.
I'm not saying judo doesn't have great moves for us tall guys. It does, but it's more focused on the shorter techniques, the shorter good techniques.
Right. So, just an interesting thought, right? I don't think I've ever thought before, is this appropriate for a tall person?
Right.
You just kind of assume that being bigger we can do anything, but there are limitations.
Absolutely.
And I tell you what, these lanky arms are handles.
Absolutely.
And when I face good grapplers, guess what? They grab the handles.
Yeah, arm bars and chokes are my the things that I get tapped to the most when I do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And those short guys get on my back, and it's like everybody assumes I'm going to just smash them, but they're very fast and they're very agile.
Right.
And next thing you know, I got a human backpack, and he's trying to choke me out. So
Right.
or she, yeah. All right, man. Where can we find you if we want to find you online again?
Easiest way to find me is on Facebook, Renaissance Wing Chun.
Okay.
Right? It's all the contact info and everything is on there. I'm on Facebook more than anything, so keep it social.
Perfect.
Comment, like.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, guys. Have a good one.